Dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about Kiev because the most important updates are coming exactly from this area. The National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine conducted searches at the home of businessman Timur Mindich, one of President Zelensky's closest associates. The sources are saying that investigative actions began this morning in Kiev, but Mindich fled Ukraine to Israel hours before cops entered his apartment. So as you can see, somebody told him that something was going to happen. The sources are saying that this businessman was the biggest contractor of drones, and also he was involved in energy market schemes. So the sources are saying that the Kiev's corrupt officials laundered approximately $100 million. Ukrainian National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine has revealed new details in the case involving Zelensky's wallet manager Mindich. So he was a wallet of Zelensky. The New York Times stated that a new anti-corruption investigation has shaken Zelensky's grip on power. When Zelensky entered politics, he promised to root out corruption, but we can see that nothing happened. Furthermore, according to information we have corruption continued through his presidency, particularly in the energy sector. Ukrainian anti-corruption officials have exposed a major scheme in which contractors for the state nuclear company were forced to pay large kickbacks to Zelensky's associates. Obviously, this is the biggest crisis ever for Zelensky, and this is an attack that was carried out by first of all, by the United States of America. And I would like to remind you once again that just yesterday we spoke about this article. Zelensky encourages himself, "I'm the only one not afraid of Trump. My relationship with Trump is constructive and concrete. I understand that everyone is afraid of Trump, everyone in the world, and that is true. This is the United States of America. They are the leaders. I'm not afraid. We are not threat to the United States." So just yesterday, Zelensky told us that he and Donald Trump are the best friends forever, but today we see the present and the gift that was made by the United States of America to Zelensky himself. Furthermore, former Ukrainian leader Petro Poroshenko's European Solidarity faction announced in the Verkhovna Rada the launch of government resignation proceedings amid a corruption scandal involving businessman, co-owner of the Kvartal 95 studio, and ally of President Vladimir Zelensky, Timur Mindich. So political games are ahead of us, and we see that the Ukrainian politicals, first of all, are preparing themselves before possible elections in Ukraine. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground, and first let's talk about the Odessa region. According to information we have, during the previous nights, the Russians carried out massive drone attack across the Odessa region. Lots of explosions were recorded in the area of the settlements by the name of Izmail and Reni. So as of now, we haven't received anything, no videos to confirm this attack, but obviously the Russians were trying to destroy something big. Probably Ukraine got additional help from the Western countries. We're talking about military help. Now let's move further. Let's discuss the situation in the Zaporozhye direction. During the previous 12 hours, the Russians in the Stepnogorsk direction continue attacking Ukrainian positions around the settlements of Magdalinovka and Veselyanka. The sources are saying that the Russians managed to establish complete FPV drone control over the main supply lines and supply roads in this area. The Ukrainians can't basically bring additional forces to the area of the city of Stepnogorsk, to the Stepnogorsk citadel. The Russians control the situation. In this video, we can see how Russians discovered another reinforcements that were trying to move in the southern direction, but this reinforcement was destroyed in 10 kilometers from the line of combat contact. So the distance to the area of attack is more than 10 kilometers from the edge positions of the Russian forces, which means that FPV drones were attacking these territories somewhere from the area of Kamenska, which means that the distance is around probably more than 15 kilometers. Now let's talk about the Guliai-Polye direction. The situation is very critical, and this information was confirmed by the pro-Ukraine sources. In the latest updates, you can see a significant increase in the gray zone in the Zaporozhye region along the Solotkinovo, Mikhailovka, Ravnopolye, Novo-Nouspinovska section. So indeed, a very huge zone was added by pro-Ukraine sources. And if you remember, just yesterday, the Russians reported that they managed to secure 2 villages in this area, the settlement of Solotka and the settlement of Novo, and we were waiting when the Russians would secure the settlement of Novouspienovsk, and this happened today. We haven't managed to add this video and to adjust the map. We added the video, but we haven't adjusted the map because we were about to start making this morning update. So before the next video, we will do this and we will discuss everything in details, and we'll try to clarify the exact positions of the Russians, and we will adjust this huge gray zone. Anyway, summarizing everything, the Russians managed to establish complete control over this settlement, and now we see that the Russians are going to continue advancing further in the direction of the settlement of Gulyaye Pole, and it seems that the battle for this city is going to start probably in December of 2025. As for the Pokrovsk direction, during the previous 24 hours or during the previous 12 hours, we received lots of very interesting updates. First video is coming from the city by the name of Rodinskaya, and in this video we can see how Ukrainians were counterattacking positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation in the southern part of the settlement. Based on this video, we expanded the gray zone in this area. Telling the truth, very difficult to understand where are the Russian positions and where are the Ukrainian positions. So one thing is clear, that the settlement of Rodinska is one huge big gray zone. There are very heavy clashes. The Ukrainians are trying to restore control over the territory. And we understand why, because obviously the Ukrainians came to the conclusion that this is the only way how to unblock the contingent of the armed forces of Ukraine that's stuck on the territory of Mirnograd. So summarizing everything, the Ukrainians are trying to make something like this. They try to establish complete control over this territory, and this corridor will allow the Ukrainians to escape probably this cauldron and to save their lives. And this is exactly what the Ukrainians are doing. And telling the truth, based on the video of Ukrainian tank in the most southern part of Rodinska, it seems that Ukrainians are very close to achieve this, let's say, goal. At the same time, we received very interesting video from the most southern part of the city of Pokrovsk. This video was discussed by many sources, and here we can see dozens, maybe hundreds of Russians that were entering the city of Pokrovsk on vehicles, on motorcycles and so on, using different types of vehicles and trucks. You know that this video and this episode reminds me a very famous Hollywood movie. Probably something like this we might see during that film. So this is the situation, and you know that the most interesting and the funniest part in this video is that Syrskyi and Zelensky stated that in the city of Pokrovsk there are around 300 Russian soldiers. Telling the truth, just in this episode we can see 100 soldiers or something like this. Of course, this fog doesn't allow us to calculate the exact number of soldiers, but there are lots of them. So which means that just in this small sector, in this small part of the city of Pokrovsk, we can find up to 33% of the entire contingent in the city limits of Pokrovsk, according to Syrskyi and according to Zelensky. As for the Syrskyi, as for the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Syrskyi, during the previous 24 hours, he made a very interesting statement. The Russian army is preparing a final maneuver in Pokrovsk to seize the entire Donetsk region, according to Ukraine Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi. The situation on the front lines is truly tense. The enemy is conducting a strategic offensive operation. They have amassed most of their forces, creating an advantage in their attempt to break through our defensive line and seize this area. Syrskyi stated that Russians concentrated up to 150,000 soldiers in this area, and the Russians, according to him, are going to secure the city of Pokrovsk, the city of Mirnograd, and then to move further in the northern direction with the purpose to get to the border between the Donetsk region and Kharkiv region. So this is exactly what the Russians are going to do, according to Syrskyi. This will allow the Russians to encircle the cities of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, and probably to take these cities without battle, because from this configuration, if the Russians, of course, are able to break through the lines and to take under complete control this territory, of course, this will lead to complete collapse of these cities without any resistance from the Ukrainian side. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the Liman-Siversk direction. During the previous 24 hours, small adjustments on the map were recorded, were published by pro-Ukraine sources. The Russians, according to these updates, are moving in the southern direction towards the TO513 road. Furthermore, we received a very interesting piece of news from the city of Kupiansk. Today, pro-Russian sources published this video. Here we can see a commander, probably of the 1486 Regiment of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, and he was reporting about the situation on the ground. And according to him, according to his official data and according to official pro-Russian sources, during the previous days the Russians managed to improve their position significantly. The Russian army in Kupiansk has taken control over an oil steel depot on the eastern outskirts of Kupiansk, the Alivino railway station, and the eastern arrival park. So this was reported by the commander of the assault detachment of the 1486 motorized rifle regiment of the West Group of Forces. So he stated that this railway station, Olivino, was captured by Russians. As of now, we are not adjusting the map. We are waiting for additional details, but summarizing everything, according to his report, something like this is already we can see on the ground, which means that the situation that you can see on the most of mappers completely has nothing with the reality. The situation differs from the reality on every single map, and the situation for Ukrainians is much worse than we can see anywhere. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes on my Patreon, and have a good day.